us the opportunity to talk about a slightly offbeat topic. If you look at ICT, it's about providing an inclusive environment for students with impairments to be a part of the mainstream. My name is Alok Lall. I'm going to talk about accessibility in education and some of the initiatives that we at Microsoft are driving to support this inclusive environment. So I'd like to start with a quote from our chairman, Bill Gates. He says, "The world is getting better, but it's not getting better fast enough, and it's not getting better for everyone." And that's really the challenge that we are seeing when you look at an environment where students with able students are able to take the benefits of education compared to students with some kind of impairments. And they tend to get lagged behind because of the inability of teachers to provide the right kind of guidance, right kind of tools to help them get up to speed. So I'm going to talk about what's accessible technology. It's the ability for technology to provide certain features that allow people with visual impairments, hearing impairments, dexterity challenges, cognitive challenges, or speech challenges to be able to participate in mainstream through technologies that we bring to the table, as well as the ability for us to provide a platform for hardware vendors and software vendors to extend what's available out of the box with certain technologies that allow students to be able to understand how to use technology to be able to learn concepts and their subjects. There are different types of impairments. Globally, there is a statistic of over 1 billion users with impairments, and India figure is about 70 million individuals. Each of them may have different types of impairments. Some of them are traditional disabilities like blindness. It could be a temporary condition, or it could be a customer preference. So across all of these, how do we look at providing an environment that does not discriminate such students and be able to support their cause of learning and help teachers to be able to support such students in the class? So every classroom can benefit from accessible technology. So you will, in your course of your day-to-day work, see students who have a hard time seeing the board and they can benefit from making the PC easier to see and to read. A hard time in concentrating on things that are on the screen and be able to less clutter that. Or if people who want to see a color inversion, they can't see a white background and black text, but they would rather like to see a black background and white text so that they are able to focus on what's being presented on the screen. Or for students who have difficulty in hearing. And it is this accessible technology that empowers all students to help them get a personalized learning. What can be the impact? You can bring, like I said, a very inclusive environment to support all kinds of students as they come to learn in your class. You shift the focus from what is being taught to what needs to be learned. And a student's style and its ability to comprehend and grasp concepts therefore can be accelerated through the use of technology. And this is really something that helps the teachers save time and effort, supports different learning styles, supports students who tend to lag behind in grasping concepts, and be able to use technology in general to achieve their goals. When you look at Microsoft's commitment to accessibility, we typically divide it into 4 pillars. First and foremost, we develop products that keep accessibility into account. So if you're using Windows, if you're using Office, it already supports accessibility as a charter, which means that if you work with a student who has an impairment, you can customize your PC to be able to incorporate those settings that can help that individual get a sense of what's being displayed or what's being shown on the screen. We collaborate a lot with NGOs, with government organizations, with educational institutions in helping them support the inclusive education charter, the ability for them to be able to use some of these things in allowing students of all kind of walks of life to be able to get the level of knowledge that they need to be successful. We also work with a lot of industry vendors to build certain technologies that I'll share briefly with you to allow the access to the computer be a lot more easier than what they have. So for example, if a student has dexterity issues, cannot use a mouse, how can we enable the keyboard to be able to sufficiently take over whatever the student would have potentially achieved by using the mouse? And how do we look at every software that we bring to the table to incorporate these capabilities? And we also work extensively on the global policy agendas on how governments and institutions should look at building an accessible, a policy that supports accessibility. The Government of India is currently working on a People with Disabilities Act, where all content, including publications, educational material, training, all of those should be provided to students and individuals in an accessible format. There is a guidelines for Indian government websites that requires every government website to support accessibility, and all content in that website should be readable, from example, through a screen reader. It should support a larger font size for people who have challenges in grasping what's written in a small font. So there is a big push by the government, and we are encouraged by that to say how can technology help provide an environment for students and individuals to be able to use some of these capabilities. Some of the products that are in the market today, like Windows, supports an easy way for an individual to personalize the PC to meet their requirements. If be it seeing a large font size, being able to magnify certain parts of the screen, to be able to change certain colors for people who are colorblind, to be able to have speech recognition, to be able to talk to your computer and be able to get it to execute certain commands. Those are all something that we've been working on for the last several years, and they show up as a part of every Windows machine that you have. Similarly, in Office, we have certain capabilities that allow people to create content that can be used by screen readers. So what you're seeing at the top, the accessibility checker, is one way for you to see, can this presentation be read out by a screen reader for somebody who's blind, who cannot read what's on the screen? If it were to be read out, will it be read out properly? Can a circular or a guideline be that is issued by a government organization? Or can a curriculum or the timetable for a set of classes that are going on, is that available in an accessible format? The accessibility checker allows you to make and test without having to understand without needing to be extra sensitive about what a person with visual impairment might actually require. So there are a number of features, and I would encourage you to come to our booth to learn more about how some of these things are provided within the Office suite or Windows that you have, and allow people with impairments to be able to use them easily. As a part of the platform, we also work with hardware vendors who provide certain types of keyboards, certain types of joysticks, screen readers, magnifiers that allow the information to be made easily available to students with different kinds of impairments. On 3rd December last year, on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, we worked with our partners to build 40 templates for the government to understand how each of these templates can be used to create accessible documents. If I'm issuing a circular, if I'm issuing an act, if there's a gazette notification, if there's a curriculum that I want to give out, can I put it in a template and run the accessibility checker so that a person with impairments can be able to comprehend what's the text of that circular or gazette notification? Or if there's a form that a blind student needs to fill up for scholarship, why should he need help from somebody else to fill up that form? Why can't he or she be able to use the technology available to fill the form themselves? We also provide free guides for educators, governments, and businesses for them to understand what are the challenges that people with different types of impairments face and how can they overcome that using technology. To support the adoption of these templates, we also encourage organizations to sign up for our training where we sensitize them on what accessibility means and how can they overcome challenges for these students using the tools and technologies that we bring to the table. And we also allow students and individuals to sign up for a certification that we provide so that they can benchmark their knowledge and use that certificate as a means to say that they know the technology, they know how to use the tools and be successful in their work environment. So my ask of each of you is to look at how you can increase awareness about the adoption of these technologies, the ability for these technologies to build an inclusive environment, sensitizing teachers and institutions on how each of these capabilities will help them incorporate students with impairments to be successful in their mainstream. We provide a set of trainings as a part of our accessibility initiatives where teachers who teach special students, how can they get a hands-on experience on how this technology can be used to support their cause and provide the right kind of education to these students. We also work with institutions who are building curriculum so that when they build content, they don't have to build a separate content for people with students with no impairments versus people with impairments. You design the curriculum once, test it so that it can be used, and get the curriculum out faster for people who have challenges and students who have challenges in using technologies and have impairments. So if you want more information, please drop by at our booth or on our website, microsoft.com/education/enable. You'll get a sense of what are the tools and technologies that are available, what kind of training is possible for you to take online or through some of the organizations and NGOs we work with to provide this cause.